Well, welcome back to Channel 1 on the Good Morning Kenya show. And right about now, we are ready for the Western Spectrum. In this segment, we are going to talk about fishing, on matters fishing this morning. And my name is Wycliffe Okech. With me now is Tom Oguda. Tom Oguda is the chairperson. Tom Guda, rather, is the chairperson of the regional BMU network, East African community, and also the chairperson of the Kenya BMU network, and also the chair of the Lake Victoria BMU network, Kenya. That is just quite a portfolio that Tom Guda holds in matters fishing. And right about now, we want to talk about the position of fishing in terms of contribution to the economy of Kenya, and also remember the SEA International Trade and Investment Conference that is starting tomorrow, and this also presents yet another opportunity for investment in the fishing community. All that we are going to talk about it with Tom Guda here. Tom Guda, good morning.
Good morning, okay.
Yes. Let me just start off by asking you, today, are you a happy use of Lake Victoria in terms of fishing?
Well, I can say I'm happy because we are alive. I can also say we are happy because we are still carrying out some level of fishing. But of course, with a lot of hope still, but currently, of course, with the diminishing resources, there is also some disparity. People are getting slightly out thinking that maybe are we going to have fish the following day or not. So desperation is setting in the sector because of how to control the wild stocks, and also because of so many other developments. Some of them are environmental, and some of them are also just systems.
Yes, some of them environmental, and some of them systems. And when we talk about sustainability of Lake Victoria to ensure that this massive resource benefits those that live within the riparian area that we talk about, the riparian counties in Kenya, and because this resource does not only benefit Kenyans, it's a resource that is shared within the East African community. Tanzania have a great portion of this resource, Uganda as well. How do you tackle the issue of illegal fishing? Because this is something that has been talked about quite often for a long time. Illegal fishing, it's been talked about, but then it's still there. Why is it still there? Is it that the systems don't work, or rather the implementation is not effective enough?
You're right, Kech. The systems are slightly not very effective. Illegal fishing today, as I speak, is the greatest threat to sustainable capture fisheries. Greatest to the extent that this system, if not checked, may eliminate completely the entire fishery stock in the wild. And I'm talking like this because so many other lakes have collapsed. Fisheries have collapsed because of lack of control of legalities. And what's bringing legalities? Legalities caused because fishermen think, because now they're not able to get the right size fish, then they want to get efficient gears. And most of the efficient gears are illegal gears. They are not good gears, which would now not be selective. Because in our fishery, we need to target fish. So if you're a Nile perch fisher, you must go out there to target Nile perch. If you are fishing daga or mena mukene, as they call in the East African community, then you must be having the right gear to target it. But fishers now are going out of their way with illegal methods, and they're also using illegal nets to get the fish. So now when they do this, then basically they are getting into the younger fish. They are also getting the brood stock, the mothers of the fish. Sometimes they interfere with the breeding areas of the fish. And therefore now we are experiencing reduced catch because of depletion of the natural critical habitats for fish, and also the harvesting of immature fish. This problem is persisting in the region because of lack of proper coordination. Control of illegality is very expensive. And regionally, we are working on monitoring, control, and surveillance mechanism. Of course, we have the harmonized guidelines, which were made by the East African community member states. They agreed up to the cabinet level. Right now in Kenya, we are battling with our own monitoring, control, and surveillance regulations. Recently, stakeholders converged, but then the national government and the county government could not still agree on who is going to do what in enforcing the regulations of the fisheries. So as we wait and as we ponder around who is going to do what, the fishermen are taking advantage and they are continuing with that illegal harvest. So we need resources, we need commitment, both political, because again, okay, as I tell you today, if you want to combat illegality, you are going to touch on livelihoods. Then politics now chips in. Politicians will always say, oh, you are targeting my group of people. You are targeting this group of people. So we need dedication and determination as a country. For Kenya instance, some other neighbors have tried. URT, United Republic of Tanzania, is trying, though they are not also yet there. Republic of Uganda is trying, they are also not yet there. As Kenya, we need to be firm and say we need to conserve this lake by preserving the ecosystem, ensuring that we do the correct, right fishery, and also punish offenders, just like we are doing when people poach or when people log in the forest.
It's even better that you've brought in the element of politics in the management of the fishing activities on Lake Victoria. But should we allow politics to override the outlined guidelines to control illegal fishing? Should we allow politics to override?
We should. I think it's a question of priority, okay. Leaders need to look at what is the potential that we can generate out of Lake Victoria. And persons who are informed about this lake have informed us quite well about the potential of Lake Victoria, the largest freshwater lake in the world, second largest freshwater lake in the world. So we are talking about a huge potential that can generate billions and billions of US dollars and support the economies of the region. But again, we are worried about what we do with our people. Because if our fisheries in Lake Victoria will still remain subsistence. In fact, at some level, they are saying that the people who fish in Lake Victoria, majority of them are fishing for food. Now, when we look at fishing for food, and then we allow persons who have bad interest to go into the lake and carry out illegalities, then now we are staring at collapse. So politics is coming in because fisheries is also about people. In fact, okay, today, if you talk to experts, they will tell you that fisheries management no longer about ecology and biology of the lake. It is more about human behavior. So the people that we are targeting are the fisher folk. And these fisher folk are Kenyan. These fisher folk are people residing in counties. So when you enforce, you are going to arrest or you confiscate gears. When you enforce, you are going to arrest and prosecute people. Then now the leaders come in. So we must rein on leaders and talk to them. Tell them the importance of fisheries of Lake Victoria. Let them appreciate that legal fishers are like poachers. Let them appreciate that legal fishers are like loggers. And so we must deal with them as criminals. Once we are all firm on that, then we are going to put in safety measures, including closed seasons. We used to have closed seasons for this lake, which was lasting about 4 months. And the results were evident. After the closed seasons, people would go into that lake and smile. We need as a region to agree. And the beauty for Lake Victoria is that we have a strong regional economic bloc. The East African community is very strong. And we can come together as a region and talk together and agree that for the sake of capture fisheries, these are some of the things that we are going to carry out. And we live by them. And we support the systems. Then we succeed.
All right. About 3 months ago, just a precursor to the Madaraka celebrations in Homa Bay, we had the Blue Economy Summit. And the CS for Mining and Blue Economy, that is CS Hassan Joho, mentioned that instead of confiscating the illegal gear that is being used by some fishermen, they're now changing tact, and now sensitization will take priority. Has that been happening? Because I remember we had that conversation with you live on here, and you said probably that is going to make some difference. Have you seen any difference that sensitization has achieved in terms of talking to these fishermen on matters using illegal gear?
Yeah, we continue talking to our people, of course, okay. We continue to explain to our people at all levels of government, both national and county governments, talking to them and telling them that this is not good enough for this lake. We need to be responsible for this lake. We need to fish sustainably. We continue engaging people. But okay, one thing is to engage the people. The other thing is what the minister said, alternatives, right? So if government will come together and say, as government, this is what we want to do. We already know the people we have. We know the number of boats we have. We know the number of gears that we have. We continue talking to our people. If government will come up with a program of targeting these guys and telling them, look, if this is what you have, we can have an exchange program. We give you this. But most importantly is to instill that discipline within our systems. And even as we do this, because we are dealing with human beings, still we must show them that if you do this, there is a harsh punishment. So I still think strongly that we welcome the move by CS Joe, which is very human and very okay. But again, we must still have an efficient unit, MCS unit, that is going to be charged with the responsibility of ensuring that any fishing activity carried out in this lake is carried out in a manner that is lawful. That must be funded by national government, supported by county government, and then all of us, the BMU network, must support that idea. It is only then that people will know that this resource is important and we need to protect it. But we encourage government. CS Joe means well for this lake. I work closely with him, he means well for this lake, but we have to ensure that our people also understand that if we do protect this lake, then the monies that people were talking about, those earlier years, what my father was telling me, we are going to get them back.
All right. Still staying on illegal fishing, because this is the one factor that affects the sustainability of fishing on Lake Victoria. You've mentioned the element of politics. Are you in other words, admitting that we will continue having illegal fishing so long as politics still override the guidelines?
We can manage our politics. You know, our politicians are people. Like, for instance, there are people that we have spoken to. I remember the governor of Homa Bay, for instance, is very strong in protection of fish and also doing good fishing. I know a number of times we speak with her. She also says that we need to protect this lake. And I know a number of our leaders listen. And they understand that we need to conserve this ecosystem if we have to live from it. And this is the clarion call by national government as well. And that's why when we meet as leaders, then we tell them what we want. At the chair of the BMU, because when we are carrying out MCS, or monitoring, control and surveillance, then they target my people. But I need to tell them, look, this is not meant to hurt you. This is meant to save you. Because if we discourage illegalities, then in the near future you are going to earn. Right now, okay, 1 kilogram of Nile perch from say 9 to and above kilo, you'll be getting about 400 and 620 Kenya shillings per kilogram, just a single kilogram of Nile perch. Now you can imagine if you are going to have a basin of about 100 small juveniles and you have a single Nile perch of 50 kilograms, you can do your mathematics and you can see how much potential we have. In fact, Nile perch for me is the white gold of Lake Victoria. And we cannot just sit aside and watch because we want to be nice to our people.
Is it an endangered species, so to speak?
Of course, yes. Right now, of course, with the increase in the fish smoke trade, you know, China and Hong Kong and the East and Israel, people are looking for fish smoke like anything. And fish smoke now is the hot kid in the block because it's selling highly and it's highly priced. Of course, very valuable. It's used for many things in the Eastern world. So because of fish smoke, then people now target Nile perch. A lot of people now focus on Nile perch.
All right. You mentioned something to do with, actually, a great number of the fishermen, they do it for subsistence and for sustainability of the lake. Going forward, how are we going to ensure that this resource is not depleted enough, not depleted, so that to ensure that those people that it continues rather to support livelihood?
What we are going to do now, of course, we are working closely with both levels of government. Number one, let us have the MCS regulation in place. That's number one. Number two, this now for government, regulatory issues. Number two, government must ensure that we don't kill Fish Levy Trust Fund. We don't kill it. There was a meeting, cabinet meeting in Kakamega, which you all read about, where there was a proposal to do away with Fish Levy Trust Fund and Kenya Fish Marketing Authority. We must ensure that we retain these entities because they are going to mobilize resources and support alternative funding to the sector to support matters to do with conservation. So we must retain them. Then look at Kenya Fish Marketing Authority, for instance. We want the beach management units to transform from being a social outfit to a viable economic entities. And one way of doing so is ensuring that these people now understand money. This they are doing through establishment of fish marketing cooperatives, which I'm championing, and the government of Kenya is supporting through the Kenya Fish Marketing Authority. So once we have made the BMUs understand that they are no longer in sports, they are no longer just carrying out a social activity, they are in serious economic activity, then the mindset is going to change. And I believe strongly that when BMUs start thinking money, they are going to see the seriousness of putting a lot of effort into this lake. So together with other efforts with the region, because also at the Lake Victoria Fisheries Organization, we are doing a lot in ensuring that we communicate to our leadership, do patrols, ensure that we give information about what we need to do. Then we are going to have a resuscitated stock. We are going to have back our stock, and we believe with that we are going to get back our lake.
Oh yes, getting back our lake. And right now I want to focus this discussion on the SIA International Trade and Investment Conference that is starting tomorrow. And remember, SIA is one of the riparian counties in this region. What does this opportunity present to the fishing community?
Great opportunity, but Willis, before I move to that,
Sure.
allow me to tackle a very critical area where I must also thank the government. You also understand that we have a lot of conflicts that are happening in this lake.
Exactly.
Because you shared. A lot of times Kenyans have been asking, what's happening? Why is Uganda frustrating Kenya, Tanzania frustrating Kenya? I think number one, we have to agree that the major problem we are having is not about the communities of the East African community. People are fighting over this resource. There are people who feel they are protecting their resource. And others feel people are looking for their resource. For Kenya, we feel that what we are looking for in Uganda is just our fish. Because you have been told a lot of times that the fish breed in this republic. And then now at some point in time when they grow big, they move to the deeper waters, which is in the other side. So we have had a lot of issues. Kenya, Uganda, a lot of issues. Kenya arresting Uganda and fishermen in Kenya and etc. But I must say this, we have done a lot. And recently I must say that I must appreciate the Republic of Kenya. The recent engagement by His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Arap Ruto and the President Yoweri Museveni did bring some sanity. At least today we are witnessing some calmness. Of course, right now I'm in the team that's working on a mechanism, a framework that's going to guide on how we move forward so that we reduce completely, if possible, eliminate the conflict that has been emanating from the region. Now back to the SIA Investment Conference, which is going to start tomorrow. As the county of SIA, I believe strongly that together with the rest of the other counties, our greatest economy is fish and trading is fish. We must take advantage of this economy. Today, we have new technologies coming on board. People are talking about aquaculture, and specifically, I'm seeing a lot of interest in cage fish farming. We must also look at the other areas of investment in the blue economy sector, which of course will improve on the transport system. How do we connect the networks? I must appreciate because so far we have developed spatial planning program, which I believe can easily tell us where we can put in our investment. But for the sector in SIA, what they must do together with the national government is, number one, they must support the fisher folk in improving the kind of boats that we are using today. We are still using those traditional wooden boats. People have moved now into fiberglass. And we need to now try to see how best do we bring our traditional boat builders and give them correct technology so that now they can move into fiberglass and improve their navigation. We are still doing like hunting and gathering. Why can't we develop systems so that we know that this is where we have mature fish, for instance? And then we look into other areas of transport to connect and build into other areas of the economy like the ecotourism and some of these other things. So fishermen must be told that you must not rely only on capture fisheries, the wild fish. You can also do fish farming through cage investment and support the value chain in terms of processing and all kind of stuff so that they can improve their incomes.
Even as we wrap up this conversation, still on the SIA International Investment and Trade Conference, what should be the focus of that forum? Because it is, as I understand, it is meant to mobilize resources to actually to boost investment in the fishing sector alongside other sectors, actually, to ensure that the economy of the region is enhanced. So my question to you, what should be the focus of that particular summit?
Map your produce. If fish is number one for share, like I believe it is, the number one infrastructure, the landing site. Then infrastructure at the landing site. When I talk about two, I mean the roads, electricity. Then in the landing site, I mean the development of the fish handling facilities. Then number two, investment in cage aquaculture. Sustainable investment in cage aquaculture. And then we also need to support our capture fisheries by trying to support them, developing new equipment, modern boats that can save lives as well. and which are very efficient. Then we develop the chain, because fish is lost at the times of landing. We need to understand that immediately we get our fish, that's not the value. The expression value is not the value of our fish. And that's why we lose out even the national government's check. All along you hear that fish is contributing a decimal point to the GDP, because we mess up our metrics. The question here is we don't tap into the value chain and check from the landing site, the fish will move to another level. We sell our fish whole, right? And that's where we lose it. So in this investment, must look at the potentials of the value chain. Look, how much can we get from our fish? And this is something that the governor of Sierra, my good friend Agre, must look into, so that we support this sector starting from the primary producers.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Tom Guda. That conversation regarding fishing on Lake Victoria. This is quite a massive resource that supports livelihood of so many households, not just in Kenya, but also in Uganda and Tanzania, who equally have a share of this Lake Victoria here. And talking about fishing, we have the Sierra International Trade and Investment Conference that is starting tomorrow. And my colleague Achola Simon is in Sierra with the governor of Sierra, that is James Orengo, to talk about that summit and also what that summit actually means for the fishing community in this region. Remember, Kisumu, Busia, this is a region that basically relies on Lake Victoria for the livelihood. And now Achola Simon, who is also here to have that conversation,